What's up, manga fans? This is Raphael from C Manga, and I'm here to give you a review of this week's chapter of the Breaker New Ways 156. So yeah, it was a great chapter today, in my personal opinion. I loved it. It was just so entertaining. There was a lot to obviously read through, and the plot seems to be moving along quite smoothly and consistently, and it's building up quite a bit of a hype and you might as well say momentum that we can expect in the later chapters. So yeah, it's really as I said, moving along quite well. Shi-Woon seems like he's going to get another power boost and a definite character development, I'd say boost as well, can be seen in the future. And then, as I said, the other few things in the chapter was quite interesting, especially with that cliffhanger. I wasn't expecting that. That cliffhanger was such a troll moment. To me, it just felt like, oh god, I can't wait for next week. But yeah, the beginning of this chapter was actually quite hilarious to me, because it was something that would usually make me rage a few months ago. And yes, you obviously know who you're talking about. Glasses face Jang-Il once again wants to, cause more havoc for Shi-Woon and his clan, and that's basically obviously more attempts on making him drop the position of Mirim Alliance leader. I mean, we see him discussing with the Mirim police chief, so he's not completely an arsehole in that regard, because he's seen the advertisements, he's wondering what's happening, he's questioning, is Kaiser the one responsible, which they don't even know because Kaiser hasn't spoken to the police chief in a while. So yeah, I can see his intentions are somewhat well, but the way he goes about it and how deeply he goes against, like, trying to undermine Shi-Woon is what irritates me. It's like, look at the bigger picture. Shi-Woon is pretty much the best hope you got right now, because they need a strong, obviously, leader to keep the Mirim Alliance together. But he just wants to keep going on with this stupid plan of making him drop the position of the next Mirim Alliance chief. Obviously, we see this plan later on where he goes into the meeting where all the clan members are waiting for Shi-Woon to return. He's trying to appeal to them by basically showing them what's happened outside, that Gomryong is being advertised on most billboards downtown, and this is obviously going to make the Mirim worlds overlap with the normal world. And he's basically blackmailing them / threatening them, saying that this is your problem. The government have trusted the Mirim before, but this is something now they don't seem to think the Mirim can handle. And if the Mirim doesn't do anything about it, they basically the government is basically saying, we're going to sever our ties with you and we'll deal with this ourselves. We'll no longer be affiliated. And obviously this has gotten some of the clan members who arrived to confront Kang-Sung basically hyped up, saying, yeah, we got to do something, we're going to go and take on Chun-Woo. And it's like, but before, you weren't willing to help Kang-Sung when he was fighting Chun-Woo by himself. Only Shi-Woon arrived with the Sun-Woo clan, and they actually freaking did more use than they have. So it's like, what arseholes and hypocrites. They want to work now because they've got their numbers or power in numbers, but now they don't want to. But beforehand, they didn't want to do anything. And what I love is Elder Quan basically just cuts down the situation. Jong-Lewan's basically trying to convince him and everyone else to, go along with the plan. And he's like, no, we'll wait till Shi-Woon comes back. And this is what I love about Elder Quan, because he's just like, no, we're not doing it your way. We're doing it the Gaiju's way. So I just got to love that from him. Also, another thing I found interesting to read about was, last chapter we assumed Sarah Kang was the one who called Yu Sensei, when in fact it wasn't. It was Elder Quan who convinced Shi-Woon to go and call Yu Sensei, and he was questioned by one of the elders about this. But like I mentioned with one of the guys in the comments in last week's chapter, it seems that Elder Quan's already topped this. He knows Yu Sensei, knows everything about Shi-Woon's body. He knows he's the one who can help him, and if it improves obviously Shi-Woon's future and helps him grow, he's going to do whatever it takes, regardless of what bad blood they had in the past. Right now, Shi-Woon is a top priority for him, so he basically said, you know what, we need to call Yu Sensei, and I just find that brilliant. Elder Quan is such a brilliant character, and it's funny because I assumed Sarah Kang was the one who called him, but it wasn't. It was actually Elder Quan. And this guy, this is what you show, obviously, someone looking at the bigger picture, unlike Yu Sensei. Yu Sensei's got this stupid grudge against Shi-Woon. Elder Quan has a bigger grudge with Yu Sensei, but he's put that all aside for the sake of Mirim Alliance, the Sun-Woo clan, and Shi-Woon. So as I said, brilliant move from him. So yeah, onto obviously the main part of the chapter. Shi-Woon is undergoing another out of body training. Basically, it's I think it's pretty much the same as the one he did with Lei Wong at the Artist Society, where he was training there when he was trying to restore his ki center. If you guys don't remember, it was, you know, when you go into a meditative stance and you basically train outside of your body, and you can imagine an opponent to fight against. You can also master techniques that you've seen before, and you just have to see it and learn how to do it in your out of body training to do it. So this one's called the Triple Blossom meditation. Is basically the same thing, a form of out of body training. But apparently the state of mind is able to develop three blossoms. I think it was flower blossoms on their head. So it's a high level technique, and apparently only people of Shi-Woon's level can do it. And we see this in the flashback. Ju-Sensei basically tells Shi-Woon he's only able to do this. No normal people can do this. And I really enjoyed this flashback because it basically has, like, not only just for physical strengthening purposes. Ju-Sensei was kind of like a mentor or a guide in terms of restoring Shi-Woon's confidence, because he knew that Shi-Woon has a massive potential. His ki, his body is much stronger than it was before. He even tells Shi-Woon that you can become stronger if you forget about thinking about your previous body's limitations. Your current body is much stronger. Think about that. And also you need to overcome your I think it was your doubts and fears. Once you overcome that, you'll be the strongest in the room. And Shi-Woon was curious about this, way he said, oh, if I'm strongest in the room, would I be able to be So-Chun? And Ju-Sensei, yes, eventually one day you could. So following that, we go back into the present, where Shi-Woon's in his meditative state, and So-Chun comes out of him, obviously as an imaginary opponent. And this Shi-Woon asks, can you fight me, obviously. So yeah, we can imagine that that's going to be some intense training between Shi-Woon and his imaginary versions of So-Chun. But what I'm curious though was, So-Chun, I think he was holding back in his last spar against Shi-Woon. And if I remember, out of body training only allows you to train against the person's strength that they last shown you. So if So-Chun wasn't going 100%, Shi-Woon will probably be going against whatever he was holding back against. So it makes me wonder, will he be able to be match up to his level the next time they meet, or would he still be slightly weaker than him? That's one thing I'm interested in seeing, how much stronger will Shi-Woon be when So-Chun arrives. So yeah, that was interesting to see. Obviously that was probably one of the, you might say, biggest part of the chapter for me, because it kind of re-established my confidence in Shi-Woon being, you know, Miram Alliance chief, and got rid of that doubt of him being too weak both mentally and physically to take on that role. And it seems that he's definitely gonna be in the future useful for that role. So the last bit of the chapter was, we see the two disciples of On-Woo finally meet. Ken-Ran finally confronts Chun-Woo and he asks about their master. And if we last time remember, I think Ken-Ran blamed Chun-Woo for his death, and he thinks he has something to do with it. So I can imagine that conversation is going to be hostile if we see it next week. They might even get into a scuffle, because I can see Ken-Ran is probably going to blame Chun-Woo for his death. He maybe even accuse him of killing him. So that'll be interesting to see how that conversation is going to go. And then, as I said, the chapter ended there. So, you know, it's really built up a hype and interest for me. I can't wait to see what will happen next week. I can't actually think other than obviously it progressing. I want to know what Kang-Sung is, his status. Is he still sick, or has he been healed? Obviously the Ken-Ran versus Chun-Woo conversation, that will be interesting. What last thing I find hilarious, obviously Jong-Jae-won's plan is going to fail, because no one realizes that obviously Shi-Woon and So-Chun are actually in good terms with each other. So the Cheongdu-mon are not going to be enemies of the Sun-Woo like everyone's expecting. So that's just going to blow up in Jong-Jae-won's face, which is going to be hilarious. And then yeah, as I said, obviously the last thing we need to see is Shi-Woon finish his training. Can't wait to see that and see how much stronger he's become mentally and physically. That's all to come next time. So yeah, you know the usual, guys. If you've got any opinions, predictions about this chapter and next chapter, leave them in the comment box below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more content, and I'll speak to you guys next week.